Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of A Million Perspectives. This will be the season finale of the podcast. Season 2 will be coming out real soon. This episode is Goodbye, written by DJ Nash and directed by James Griffith. This is, and today we have today's guest is Andrew. Hello, Andrew.
Oh, hello.
And we always have our co-host, Adam. Hello, Adam.
Hello.
And in this episode, the question will be, who is the hardest person you have to say goodbye? Just like the main theme of this episode is saying goodbye.
Whoa, hold on. What was the hardest goodbye you had to say to someone?
Yeah.
You said who is the hardest person that you've had to say goodbye to?
It's the same thing. Well, yes, who is the hardest person? It's
Whoa.
very. I'm sorry. Andrew, do you want to go first on the question?
Sure. I think the hardest person or like the hardest goodbye?
Yeah, hardest goodbye.
I think it was what is it? When I was leaving to university, because like this was like the first time, going like from home, saying goodbye to my parents and my little sister. So and just venturing out into the world on my own, it's a pretty hard goodbye.
Yeah, it's always hard. Adam?
Hardest goodbye. I don't know, maybe saying goodbye to my parents, but it wasn't that like hard of a goodbye because I didn't realize I wouldn't be able to see them for like another like 5 bajillion years because of COVID.
It's very true. You're living with your sister in an apartment and then now in a dorm. Does it feel different now that you're living with other people in your age?
A little bit.
Yeah, very true. Well, I'm not living in a dorm. Well, I had many hard goodbyes in my life because I had to move a lot. But saying goodbye to my parents is the hardest, I think. But mainly, it's hard because the fact of COVID happened, and that my parents are moving to a different country. But the fact that my father left 5 months before my sister or my mother left, it was hard to comprehend the fact that that my dad left, and then my mom and sister left the country to go to a different place during COVID. It's very worrisome because of all the COVID spreads during those early times. Yeah, everything about COVID is very very hard, and it's hard to know when you're going to see your loved ones in the future, because yes, you can text, call, Zoom, Skype, FaceTime, or all the other technological things you can do to get in contact, but it's also it's not the same as meeting them in person. Am I right, guys?
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah. Well, this was the question. Andrew, I guess thank you for your short time. I thought it would be longer, but yes, thank you for your short guest appearance in this segment of the question. I hope you could return in season 2 of this podcast.
I take it back. This is my hardest goodbye, saying goodbye to
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Well, thanks for having me.
Yeah, I hope you can return for the for season 2 in a longer capacity. But yes, thank you for being here. And yes,
oh, yeah, no
thank
worries.
you.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
Well, now we're going to talk about the finale. Well, to recap, John committed suicide, and then the group's dynamic and lives changed. Gary met Maggie and convinced Maggie to go into treatment. Delilah and Eddie's affair is revealed, and the consequences of Delilah getting getting pregnant because of that. But none of the other group knows because Delilah wants to honor John. Regina started a restaurant. Catherine has Catherine and Eddie has a hard time reconciling their relationship until this point. And Rome tried to commit suicide while John tried to, but he was stopped in the and he quit his job. He's writing his script, and now we're going into the finale.
Hell yeah.
In this episode, the first thing happens is since Maggie and Gary's relationship is in a very good place. Maggie survived the surgery to remove her tumor from her breast. So Maggie is moving into Gary's house, and Eddie is moving into Maggie's house just so that Maggie can keep the house. Well, because Eddie was living with Gary, now they're just switching the places that they're living at. It's a big step for the two of them, I think, because of the fact that they're moving into someone's house or moving in together is a big commitment to for sure.
Right. Also a big step for Maggie as opposed to the start of the season.
Yeah, who didn't want to get treatment at the start.
Yeah. Big change. Good change.
Yes, very good. And then the next scene happens where it's since Delilah decided to sell a lot of John's stuff to charity and to other people, but before doing that, the Delilah, Sophie, and Danny decided to to give one last gift from John to everyone in the group. And for Gary, he gets John's Harvard sweater. John's always saying he went to Harvard, and in the beginning of the season, as I mentioned, and Eddie's eulogy, John says everyone's stupid to think that Gary, Eddie, and Rome had gone to Harvard. It's really, he's the only one who went to Harvard. So, but then now, Gary could technically say that I went to Harvard because he has the sweater, but that's not how it works. And then, I wish so too. Just go to the university store and said, I want to buy the sweatshirt. Okay, now I went to this university. That would be epic, but that's not how the world works. Regina gets John's first trophy that he won from his real estate job. The trophy is misspelled, and that's the one thing that apparently John was proud of. So that's the thing that is given to Regina. Now, the most emotional thing is Sophie gives John's most important cufflinks to Rome because Rome has become sort of the most father figure to Sophie because of the fact that Rome and Sophie did the father dance in the second episode. And now everyone starts to tear up because of the emotional aspect of that, on giving something that precious to Rome, who at first refuses to take it because it's John's and he feels disrespectful to do it, but he accepts after Sophie convinces him to, and everyone starts to become emotional. That's when Gary says to Danny to, bring back the humor in the room, and Eddie is given a hockey stick that isn't from Bruins, the Bruins, which is the main hockey team that John, Rome, Gary, and Eddie loved. But this hockey stick wasn't from that game, and we're gonna know what the hockey stick was meant for in this episode in the future further on. And then Sophie gives Maggie, even though Maggie didn't know John, since Maggie has been there after the funeral, Maggie is given a record of John's most precious album, which is like super nice to know that Maggie now is accepted into the group 100%, basically.
Right.
And then the group just moves rest of the stuff out of the house, and
That's wholesome.
But yeah, so for the garage sale or to sell everything. But before doing that, Sophie shows the album in the last episode of John and Barbara Morgan, and Gary tells her that person is Barbara Morgan, because Sophie didn't know who she was when she saw the picture, because Sophie only met her while running but didn't know the name, and then
Barbara Morgan is this mysterious person, right?
Yeah, who painted the pictures for the Gary's hospital, and there's this mysterious past between them, because Barbara Morgan got some money, John kept some inheritance for Barbara, and we don't know why that was the case.
Right.
And then after the goodbye, well, giving this John stuff, Rome and Regina decides to go to a car lot to check out some new cars, or check out some new cars. And yeah, it's a very normal person thing to do, to go check out a car, I think, or at a car lot. But yeah, we'll talk about that more in the later on. Now, Sophie and moving back to the Dixon's house, Sophie and Delilah is lying on the bed, comprehending who was Barbara Morgan to the family, because strange person that John knew, but none of the group knows who Barbara Morgan is. Yeah, it's very mysterious.
Do we figure out this episode, or
next season? This episode we figure out who Barbara Morgan was to John, but we'll she will return in season 2 in a much bigger way. And then we go to Catherine and Eddie and Catherine, relationships going up after the 3rd episode. The affair is revealed. Eddie moves out. Now Eddie and Catherine are reconciling the relationship, and they're in a very good spot. But then Eddie is plagued, because he wants to tell Catherine about him impregnating Delilah, but Delilah wants to keep it a secret, so it's a little bit difficult. And plus, if she knew the truth, the relationship will be broken again, and that's not what she wants. It's gonna be really complicated. And then we go to Gary and Maggie. Even though Maggie had a successful surgery, there is a chance that there was a sliver of tumor left. So they go back to the hospital and talk to the doctor, and she's in full remission. She has no tumor. She is completely cured for the second time, because the first time she had it, she got cured, and then she got it again, and she refused treatment until Gary came into her life, and then she's cured again, which is really good. That's good.
That's awesome.
Yeah. It's a happy moment for the two of them. And then Eddie, and then we go back to Rome and Regina acting like a normal couple, who drives a very fast car. But in Carlisle you can drive any car and don't buy it. So I think that's what they're doing. Yeah, it's funny. Rome and then we go back to Maggie and Gary celebrating the stuff. Her recovery from the tumor that was the cancer, breast cancer, which is very nice. And then we finally go to this moment where Delilah finally goes to Barbara Morgan's house, and we learn the truth about who Barbara Morgan was to John.
Ooh, okay.
Barbara Morgan, well, at first Barbara Morgan is married, and her husband refuses to let Delilah in because Barbara Morgan wants to forget what happened. But then that's what the husband thought. But then Barbara said, let her in. She needs to know the truth. So yeah, that's how we will learn the truth. And then we go to a flashback of a very important event where when I said how Eddie was given the hockey stick from a non-Bruins game, the reason why that was because apparently they're going Eddie the group, the four boys pledged themselves after the elevator incident to go to every single Bruins game, and John funded it for them because he's the richest person out of the four. And John bought the season tickets for them, and but this time Eddie was the one who booked the flight tickets, and he picked the cheapest one and he picked the airport that is always going to be delayed. And so Gary is mad at Eddie for what he has done, but John tries to fix the situation by, John forgives Eddie basically, and basically John decides to buy 4 hockey sticks at the airport station, a mini hockey stick and a doll, and creates a tournament, or with the 2v2 on the hockey against hockey to create a hockey match so that they don't miss out hockey for Bruins at the airport in the middle of the public space. They have the seats, the escalators and everything, and then there's this rectangle space that's free where people walk, obviously. But what John does is takes the space and creates a hockey field and starts a hockey match basically.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's really sick how everyone circles around them while they watch these 4 guys playing hockey. It's the most funniest thing to see because of the fact that they're grown men, of course, but it also shows how uncomfortable they are playing hockey with each other in front of anyone because they're close, and if one of them is going to be embarrassed, all of them are going to be embarrassed. That's how they see it. But the good thing is they learned that the flights on time or actually arrived on time, so they could play the hockey game. Well, they played the hockey game and they learned that the flight's here and that they could make it to the match. So they rush off to go to the match, and that's the flashback of the hockey stick that wasn't the Bruins thing. It's really nice. No,
that's awesome. Yeah. That's nice.
I think it's a very special connection that you won't be able to get with any other people, unlike it's the 4 closest person. I wouldn't do it if it wasn't someone that I trusted and
you wouldn't play hockey with me in the airport.
Play hockey? Well, 1v1 sounds a bit odd, but yeah, sure. It depends on the airport too. If it's too crowded in, then I wouldn't do it. But if there's space, why not? Now, Delilah is going to learn the truth. So the relationship with Barbara and John is that John's roommate was in a relationship with Barbara Morgan. And John was going to watch a Bruins Bruins game when he was in his university days. And the day was 9/11. John says that he needs at the flashback. John needs to a wine to for a flight. So he buys the wine and tries to make it onto the flight, but he misses it. The boarding's already passed, and so he calls his roommate, who he convinced to get to join him for this Bruins fans. And his friend goes alone, and the day is September 11th, 2001. And Barbara tells John about the fact that the reason why John has a complicated history with Barbara Morgan is that the flight that Barbara Morgan's boyfriend or John's roommate was on was used in the terrorist attack. So he created so John has been living with the guilt of knowing that he could have been responsible for getting his roommate or his best friend killed.
Jeez.
Yeah. And John kept blaming himself for a very long time, including when during the flashback we also see how the flight attendant who refused John to enter the plane actually saved his life, basically, and her name was Sophie. So I guess John picked Sophie because of that for his daughter's name. And everyone's crying in the flashback, and then John always every day for the next couple of every once in a while goes to visit that airport for the memorial, basically memorial, and he still has that ticket of that flight that he didn't get on, and learns that his friend got that Barbara was pregnant with the roommates, and but no. Yeah, I know. And John, Barbara tells John that she moved on, or at least got closure. Well, John couldn't get the closure, which caused them to have a fight and leads them to have a broken relationship, which is why John recorded the video to Barbara Morgan about apology before his death in his second apartment, about how he regrets the way they ended things, and how he apologizes for his roommate's death. And he apologizes that he wasn't there for the baby when he should have been, when he could have been, basically.
Right.
And then John's life changes after that, because he goes to the airport bar to drink himself. That's when he meets Delilah for the first time.
Oh, okay.
So he gets a happy meeting because he meets Delilah, but it's difficult for John still to, he still blames himself for his roommate's death, whose name is Danny. That's why he named his second kid Danny.
Oh,
so
okay.
He honored the two people that meant the most in that day in there. Now Delilah finally understands by watching the video and talking to Barbara the truth about his guilt that John was feeling, and also how she was the reason he kept going after the day, or in the day they had Barbara and John had to fight. The reason why he kept going was for Delilah, and thanks to Delilah, she was a lot. She was more alive, or kept was stayed alive for a long time, and yeah. But the Barbara's husband kicks Delilah out as soon as their son starts to return home, because he doesn't know about John either and Danny, so they want to keep him that way. So Delilah is has got her closure, but also gets kicked out. And then we return to we go to Delilah telling the news to Gary and Maggie about the truth of John, and now that all three of them understand the difficulties that they had faced, that John had faced. And then we return to Rome and Regina back in the car lot after that. A much happier moment, which is a good thing, where Rome sees in a different car, sees a family with kids. And I think in Rome's mind, he wants a kid. And well, he's starting to think, God, maybe that's something we can do. But when they got married, they promised no kids. So Regina's not gonna take it well.
Right.
We go back to Delilah and John in the bar after the fight, and they start getting really along. And before Delilah's going back to France, so before doing so, Delilah writes a number, all the contact details on a piece of paper, so that John could get in touch with her, which they do because they got married, obviously. And Delilah finds the paper, the ticket. She wrote it on the ticket of the flight of 9/11, the flight that she was going to go on the back. She wrote the thing, and Delilah finds that ticket still framed or in the back of a album, a photo album. Yeah, she finds it there, and she takes it out and looks at it. It's really nice moment. And then Rome finally tells Regina that he wants a kid to Regina. Really, it's the second moment after I think he thought about it. And then but then she basically turns him down, basically, saying we can't bring a kid to this dark world, and stuff. And then Gary finally goes to John's grave for the first time after burying him, and starts to talk to him like the way he talked to him when he was alive, and saying how he is sorry for John, how he couldn't help him, but he, knowing the truth about his guilt, brings some comfort to Gary, and hopefully he's in peace with him. And Gary's finally gets some slight closure to the mystery and darkness that they've been facing. And then we go to the final moment of the thing where Delilah goes into labor. Sophie, okay. Danny, Rome, Regina, because while Rome said, I want a kid, they got the phone call of Delilah is in labor. So, the conversation got cut out a little bit, and, they all rushed to the hospital. But Catherine and Eddie decides not to. Well, they learn that they're going into labor, and but decides to keep it and then Eddie decides to tell her the truth about who the baby's father is. But that's when yeah, there's also another scene, well, multiple scenes, because it's the final scene of the final scene where, to tease the next season, where Regina says no to Rome, obviously, and then we find out the son of Barbara Morgan is PJ from the previous episode.
Oh.
Rome's friend, and PJ watches now is, yeah, I know it. Everything's connected. It's really brilliant.
Okay.
PJ is watching because the fact that Barbara just closed the laptop instead of deleting the video, or encrypting the video. She just watches John's message, and his arc is very special and nice with the group in next season, because now PJ thinks John is his father. Is he? Is he not? That's the mystery of the going through for the first 8 or 9, I forgot, episode. And in the final scene of that is our favorite song, Iris by Goo Goo Dolls.
Yes. 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 Is that the first time the song goes on the series?
Yes, it's the only time.
Oh, yes.
Yes, the episode ends. The episode itself, from what I heard from DJ in his podcast, is that the reason why he put the title as Goodbye was because he didn't know if the show was going to be renewed or not. So it was going to be a nice way to say goodbye to the fans, but also a goodbye to John. But the series is picked up for a 4th season, which is airing during the fall. 20 episode, which is the longest episode that they've covered. But yes, this is the story of season 1, and how season 2 will be, well, one, it's Eddie and Catherine's relationship turning upside down because of the fact that Eddie tells Catherine who the father is of Delilah's child, and it's going to be about the child, obviously, and it's going to be a PJ for the first half, and the second half it'll be something else. But stay tuned, and yeah, it's the season finale of the show was very emotional when I saw the 9/11 scene. It's just made me cry because of the fact that losing someone to that kind of a very difficult event, and knowing that you might have been responsible because of convincing that person to get on the flight, it's something a bit difficult to forgive yourself in any circumstance.
Yeah, that is tough. When everything's meant to be broken.
Well, thank you for listening to our podcast. We'll be back in roughly 3 to 4 weeks for season 2. Season 2's episode 1 is called Coming Home. It's directed by DJ Nash, well, written by DJ Nash, obviously. So thank you for listening, and
wait, I've got something to say.
Oh, okay.
First of all, if you haven't, you should check out Iris.
That's it's by Goo Goo Doll. The Goo Goo Doll.
You should have the song play, like fade out at the end of this episode.
No, I'll probably have a different song that
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was used in this episode. It's a great song.
We still have to perform that song for the podcast one day.
We'll do it when in the mid-season of season 2, which is
okay.
Yeah, we'll definitely do it.
So be tuned for that. And also, I just want to say thank you for your worries, Yuki's mom. I am okay and I am fine.
Okay.
And if you're listening to this, I hope you're doing all right.
Well, thank you for listening to our podcast. It's been a long journey from December to June to finish 17 episodes, but our busy schedule makes us that way. But
Did we really start December?
Yeah, we started December.
Wow. Okay.
We'll try to finish half of it during the summer, hopefully. Yeah. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you in for the next season.
Goodbye.
Bye bye.